Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today, if you read the title for this, I'm going to talk a bit about the library and show you a little library haul and just have a cozy time, talk about some books that I normally wouldn't talk about on my channel, and I thought it would be fun to make a little video. So basically, I borrowed books at the library, which I feel like obviously is not a revolutionary thing to do. But basically, I have talked about this before as well on my channel, but when I was a kid, I lived in the library. I borrowed books all the time. That's where I read most of my books. And then I became a teenager and decided to start buying all my books. And now I ended up here. So obviously, it feels weird for me to go and borrow books at the library when I have so many at home that are unread. But I always loved the library because it's like one of the few places in this world that is actually free. Like, you can go there and get free stuff, like for real free. It's just a positive place where they have so many resources for people, and I love it dearly. And last year I started to work at our local library that has several branches, but it's all within the same branch. I have lately been summer help in the different libraries and seen more of them, and everyone has the different things and what is more popular here and there, and I just love the whole thing, and it makes me happy to see and be there, and I just been having the best time. So I got a bit enabled because being surrounded by books all day is it's I was gonna say triggering or enabling, but a word that you want to use. So it's hard to be there without wanting to pick stuff up. And usually when I do this, I tend to buy the stuff I see, which then turns really expensive, especially because Norwegian books are expensive. And obviously I live in Norway, so we mostly have Norwegian books in our libraries. We do have English selections as well, varied of what I have, of what I read. They do have a lot of stuff I read, but not all. But I decided to do this summer reading bingo challenge at my library, which I am making a known video about. And because of that, I needed to borrow some books because I didn't really feel the need to buy them. I did debate buying them, and I was like, Sandra, you're being ridiculous. If I truly love them, I can buy them later. So I'm going to show you the few books that I have now checked out on my library card. Yeah, I'm just, the whole vibe, libraries, I'm happy, okay? So starting off with the first two I borrowed, we have Jeg snakker om det hele tida by Kamara Lundstad Joff, or I speak about this all the time. And this one is a very, very short book. It's 92 pages or something, and I'm reading this for the bingo, which is to read books specifically in this series that are being published, it's kind of like a series of these paperbacks. I think this book follows a real person that writes about her experiences being a non-white person in Norway, and writing about her experiences with racism in Norway. I don't know if it's only about that. That's the vibe I got from the book, and I thought it could be interesting to read about, which is one of the reasons I borrowed this one. And also, the things that I had to borrow for the challenge, I wanted to be short because I don't want to read a billion extra books that are really long. But all the books in this series specifically are short, and you needed to read from this series. There's an actual challenge to read from. What was it called again? And yeah, so that was one of the first things I borrowed. This was one of the reasons I almost didn't do the bingo, because I didn't want to read from this series. But then when I actually read about them, they seemed more interesting, and I realized how short they were. I was like, wow, it's not going to stop me. So yeah, I'm actually reading this one. And the next one I borrowed is Tungtektstale by Olaug Nilsen, or I don't even know how to translate that. Heavy time tale. That's really directly translated. I don't think that's what it means. And this is another very, very short one. It's 150 pages. This is also for the bingo. The bingo challenge this completes is to read a book in Nynorsk, which is one of the written languages in Norwegian. We have two of them, and most books are written in bokmål. So reading Nynorsk books is it's good. And I think this is something to do with a kid that doesn't have a home. It's something to do with I actually don't know. It's something to do with a home or something. I don't know if the kid doesn't have a home. I actually think I'm very wrong about this. I actually don't know. But I got this recommended from one of my co-workers, and I know it was quite popular for a while because people wanted it when I worked in the bookstore. Might be one I might want to buy. but again, very, very expensive. So that was the first 2 I borrowed, and I had no plans of borrowing more. But then I was in another library another day, and I borrowed a Switch game, which seems very random, but you can borrow games in the library for free, which is, again, amazing. You can literally game without paying anything. And the other week I seen this game, which is basically Chef Life, a restaurant simulator, at another library I worked at. And I was planning to get it, but then someone else borrowed it before I like had decided completely if I wanted it. So then I couldn't get it that day. And then I saw it when I was at a different library. I was like, well, now I'm getting it. I want a game. I tried it for 1 hour and I absolutely hated it. I'm not going to play it anymore. I'm going to return it in 2 days. I just needed to have it still for the purpose of this video. But again, it's fun that you can play like Switch games and like borrow games. Some you can't borrow with you home, but still. And it's just cool, okay? I just did like this one. I like restaurant simulation games, but this was terrible. Like, I hated it, sorry. But I tried it and I didn't pay for it. And then that same day, I had seen the day before a book in the bookstore when I was at work. And I thought it seemed interesting and it was absolutely stunning. And then I saw that they had it at the library and I was like... Then I borrowed it, which is Vinum mot skogen by Maria B. Buchenberg, or Window Towards the Woods, which is, again, very short. I don't know why all these Norwegian books are super short. It's not even 150 pages. And it seems to follow, like, a relationship between people, family stuff. I don't even know. I haven't read the synopsis properly, but it's, like, super easy to read. Because they had this library binding, though, like, kind of, like... I don't know how to describe it, a cut off the jazz jacket and glued it on. Like the actual copy that is not like the library copy is stunning, and it's still like a very stunning cover. I debated buying it just because it was pretty, but then I realized I could read it now and see if there's something I want to own. But the cover is so pretty. And it just seems like something I would like. It is so random though. I literally just looked at it in a bookstore and then I was like, I want it. When I was at work, by the way. So I ended up borrowing that as well. Then, since I already had started borrowing books, I don't even know if I would get to read this in time, by the way. I went yesterday and borrowed another one for no reason at all at another library. Just for the purpose of this video, and also because I want to read it. And I feel like if I borrow them, I feel like I have to read them. Because like then I borrow them if it's stupid to deliver them back without having read them. I know that is also really normal. And it's good to just borrow books even if you're not going to read them, because you support the book and give like good... I was going to say stats to the library, so it shows that people are interested in the books and like interested in the library in general. So it is a good thing no matter what you do to borrow books. But I heard about this book for the first time in 2016 when I was like at a book meeting thing with a publisher when I worked in another bookstore. The author came and talked about this book, and it's basically about a couple that is stuck inside in the snowstorm, and then they need to like talk about things that have been between them for a long time. And that synopsis has never left me. I had known about this book for a billion years. I debated buying it, but it was expensive. And now I realized I have it at the library. I could read it now. And that book is Holke by Helene Uri. Now, I will be real with you. I don't know what Holke is. It is a Norwegian word, but I don't know what it means. Which is like, maybe I'm stupid. But it's just, it has a pretty cover too. But again, I cut off the just jackets. But that's what they do with library editions. That's fine. Have any plans to read this now? No. Did I borrow it? So I have to read it in August, I think. Yes. Again, it's very short. It's only like 200 pages. And I wonder like what this married couple has to say to each other. I know that Helene Uri is a really like well-known, well-written Norwegian author, but I never read anything by the author. And I just borrowed it because I wanted more books in this video, but also because I've been thinking about borrowing it for a while, but I put it off and I was like, nah, I'm just doing it. So yeah, I got it. And I'm like, so yeah. And then I thought I was done, but today I was work at the library, a different one again, and I borrowed 2 more books because for the bingo board thing challenge, there is a challenge to read an essay. Obviously I could find an essay online, etc. But I wanted to read something borrowed at the library, or like I didn't have to, but that's just where we ended up. So a book that I kept an eye on for a while is Norsk Nok, or Norwegian Enough, by loads of different Norwegian authors that writes about how it is to be not white in Norway. And then I was unsure if this counted as an essay or not, but then I talked to like people I work with and they said for the purpose of the bingo you can count this as an essay collection. And I want to read it because I think it is interesting. Also, you know, being also Asian in Norway, it is like something I'm interested to see about other experiences, etc. I saw this also when I was at work in a bookstore when we had it, and I was like, oh, I want to read this. But then I didn't want to buy it at the time. Library. And it seems interesting themes. I don't know if it counts as essays, but we are counting it right now. Going to read this, or I would just read both. Also got Det är personlig om rasisme och ytringsfrihet, which is It is Personal about racism and freedom of speech by Lisa Sohel Knudsen, which is an author, a Norwegian author that writes about racism in Norway. This especially after like 2020 with George Floyd, how the theme of racism in Norway came up, because it came up in a lot of countries in the world and a lot of people said there's no racism in Norway, and this is kind of an answer to that there is. And I think that is a very interesting topic again to read about. And I got this suggested by a co-worker. I think I can count this as essays as well. So now I'm like, do I just read both? I feel like now I have to, since I got both. Or do I just read one of them? I'm unsure. But I feel like I now want to read both. And it's kind of, you know, they're about the same theme-ish, but not completely. And I thought they sounded interesting. So that's what I got. I got non-fiction books, like 3 non-fiction books, and all of my non-fiction books are ish about racism, so I don't know what's going on here. There's a theme going on, but yeah, that's what I got for this library haul, and talk a bit about my library joy lately. I feel like it's a good place to go for Norwegian books, even though of course I own some Norwegian books as well. But I feel like it's easier for me, for example, to unhaul Norwegian books because I know they're available at my library, and I feel like I don't have the need to own them as strongly as like special editions of fantasy series as I like want to have on my shelves, which is obviously like, it's not a bad thing because I support my library. Of course, the Norwegian books I like to own as well. But yeah, that is my little haul, basically. Mainly because of the bingo, but I have like 2-3 here that I just got because I could, and now I'm like, why? I don't have time in August. I don't have time for anything, so I don't know what I'm doing. But I just still want to make a little library haul video with some options. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a book emoji down below because library, and you should see me soon in a new one. Goodbye!